Well, he's back again.
This is Ezra Miller, the Mad Goose Wizard. It's me.
This time in a second Flash trailer, but the strangest thing to me is how everyone in the trailer seems to be talking about Ezra Miller's real life.
This world must die.
I completely broke the universe.
Ezra Miller reportedly believes that they are Jesus, and believes his own marriage to a Native American spider goddess is supposed to bring about the apocalypse.
I have to undo what I did.
Accused of using cult-like tactics on people.
Not much for tragedy to find you.
Arrested for second-degree assault after a 3-week rampage. Argues with police, claiming he films himself getting assaulted for NFT art.
These scars we have make us who we are.
Accused of intimate violence.
I can't imagine what you've been through. You lost both parents in one day.
Accused of inappropriate behavior. Told a mother they would be lucky to have somebody like me to guide them.
You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts.
Taunts authorities, you cannot touch me, I am in another universe.
We're not going to be able to fix this.
Possible sentence of 26 years behind bars.
Do you know what the symbol stands for?
Means hope, right?
Ezra Miller dodges jail time over burglary case.
Trying to right the wrongs of the past.
Ezra Miller offering haven to woman and 3 children on a property claimed to be scattered with unsecured firearms. And the infamous video where he chokeslams somebody into the ground.
Whoa, bro.
And seriously, after all of that, is it any wonder that at one point, there were actually rumours that Elliot Page might be considered to replace him? Seriously, at this point, there's only upsides. So with all that in mind, I wasn't expecting the critics to come out with a story about how incredible his performance was. Especially when in the first trailer, he delivered every single line like a block of wood.
This is the world where my mom lives. I'm not going to lose her again. I created a world with no metahumans. Now there's no one to defend us.
And this is a man whose superpower is to run, and yet he can't run properly. And yet, despite that, here we are. We've got Robert Meyer Burnett saying Ezra Miller's winning performance. No, really, The Flash is wildly entertaining. Although Stephen at Collider goes about 20 steps further by going, The Flash is fantastic. I know Ezra Miller has made a lot of mistakes. Yes, he did get in trouble for some serious crimes, and think he was going to bring about the apocalypse with his spider goddess. But don't worry, those are just mistakes, and Ezra's really good in this movie. Look, no one's going to begrudge him a mistake. We've all been there. You know how it is. You're walking along, you trip over. Next thing you know, you're facing 26 years behind bars, have to make a plea deal, and tell the authorities that they can't catch you because you're hidden in another universe. We've all been there. Only the person who hasn't done that in their life can cast the first stone. And yet, we live in a time where if you say the wrong thing or have the wrong opinion in Hollywood, you get fired. One person makes an allegation against Jonathan Majors, and he starts getting dropped from loads of projects, including apparently his management team and various different film and television roles. And yet, here we are with Ezra Miller, the director himself, coming up with excuses for him. Oh, don't worry what Ezra's done in the past. Ezra's taking steps to recovery. I'm not sure how many steps the recovery program is for chokeslamming people into the ground, but apparently we're going to find out. And why Ezra Miller? Why is Ezra Miller the odd one out? What is it that Ezra Miller's got that no one else does? Why is he the exception? Well, maybe it's just like the Flash director says, that Miller is an extraordinary actor. Probably one of the best experiences working with an actor ever. Ezra's brilliant. Miller's contributions are constant, and the multiple different Ezras in the movie like to do more takes, which is what the director likes as well. Ezra is full of incredible emotions, and also incredibly funny. And he congratulated him on being able to play 2 different versions of the Flash at the same time. One Barry, who is neurotic, anxious, full of hardships and trauma, and the other who is none of that. He's just carefree. It's almost like he's from another universe. So what, is it his talent saving him? Because something certainly is. Even James Gunn was asked about, is he actually going to stay and do more Flash movies afterwards? Because the director's certainly open to a sequel. We didn't talk about a sequel, but we're waiting to see how the movie does. If there's excitement about continuing the story, if the movie's successful, then that's something they could consider if the new architecture could absorb the story. And that's very much James Gunn's response as well, who when asked, do you have any plans for Ezra to return in the future, said, we're just gonna have to wait and see, you know. I mean, we'll see how things go, so, you know, as of yet, not really, but we'll wait and see how those numbers do to see if we actually need to get him back. Yeah, sure, we'll fire Henry Cavill immediately, but for Ezra, after everything that's happened, For him, yeah, we should probably just wait and see how those numbers do. It really is interesting how the rules change for everyone involved, isn't it? Henry Cavill, out immediately. Got people like Jonathan Majors who just start getting dropped from everything straight away. And yes, he's in Marvel, but this is more a general attitude of Hollywood than anything else. I just find it interesting how the one exception to everything seems to be Ezra Miller, who seems to be able to get away with anything, and he won't get dropped. And I thought that would be the story. I expected that to be the story. And so with Hogwarts Legacy, all the critics came out and went, well, I would talk about this, but first, I think we need to get the drama out of the way. Then, when it comes to the Flash movie, nothing. It's just Ezra Miller's got a winning performance. Yeah, Ezra Miller's made mistakes, but you know, he's a good actor. The Flash is one of the best superhero movies ever. Truly one of the best superhero movies ever. Believe the hype. I mean, seriously, how many times has that been said? The one sign that you should never believe the hype would be somebody telling you to believe the hype. Flash is more madcap than I expected. Tons of Ezra Miller being zany. Nerds will lose their minds over it. And yes, the Flash is good. Humor, heartwarming, and if anything, it's just a tad too ambitious. Massively entertaining, solid emotional stakes. One of the better multiverse movies out there. And one of the best superhero movies in a long time. Very satisfying. Now, all of this lines up with other things we'd heard. There was David Zaslav, who said, I saw the movie and loved it. It's a wow. And also spoke about how James Gunn called it a masterpiece. And now it just makes sense that DC didn't shelve this one. And I can't help thinking, really? This is a guy who delivered a voiceover to the first trailer like a block of wood. His reaction to that trailer was so bad, in the second one you turned it into a Batman trailer, not a Flash trailer. Clearly trying to pitch this movie as little about Ezra Miller as possible, and then you've got all the critics coming out and going, you know what though, best thing about this movie, it's Ezra Miller. I don't know why the critics are pushing him to the front for compliments, while DC are trying to hide him behind Batman. And don't get me wrong, the movie could be good, I could believe they make a good movie. I just can't believe that Ezra Miller could ever be a good actor.
The Mad Goose Wizard?
Largely because I've seen him play the Flash before. Although, let's be honest, if he believes he's Jesus and that his own marriage to an American spider goddess is supposed to bring about the apocalypse, then he might believe he's a superhero too. And so it's not even acting at this point. As far as he's concerned, he can travel through time into different multiverses and save the universe from himself. We've transcended method acting here. As far as he's concerned, he's the fastest man alive. And I don't know, for me, despite what the critics say, I don't know whether it's enough. Because whenever Ezra Miller's on screen, I'm just gonna think about everything that he's done.
Based economy.
Loads of people are gonna watch this for Batman, but he's still going to be on screen a lot. It doesn't matter how many different Easter eggs or cheers that Michael Keaton may get. And everyone keeps talking about how emotional it is, but I can't help wondering if all those emotions simply come from nostalgia. People keep talking about all the different cameos it's got in it, but I can't help thinking that all of that is there to distract you from the main actor who is the Flash himself. It's like, okay, we've got Ezra Miller, but maybe we can just drown it in nostalgia so people can't actually smell the stench. And this movie is taking hits from all over. Even those cameos have drummed up drama because they make the strangest decisions. The most obvious person that you would have as a cameo is Grant Gustin himself from the Flash TV series, and yet the Flash director, well yeah, we don't want him in the movie, didn't really want him to overshadow Ezra. Whereas if anything, I would have thought that was the point of the cameos. I would be trying to overshadow him so much it felt like a total eclipse.
I'm not flying around saving people in this thing.
Look, normally I hate movies which are shot in low light, but when it comes to Ezra, we can quite happily just cover him in darkness. Just wherever he walks around on screen, just drastically dim the lights. You even had two Barry Allens in this movie. One of them could have been Grant. It would have made total sense, but instead, no, we've got to put up with two Ezra Millers. And when you come out and give interviews, and you say the reason why he's not in is there just wasn't room for his character in the movie. I mean, there's coming out with bad excuses, and then there's blatant lies. With all the cameos you've got, yes, there was definitely room. There was even an entire second character perfectly made for him, let alone the part where he apparently runs through various different alternate timelines, which would have been the perfect area for someone like him to have been in. Oh, there just wasn't room. We couldn't possibly have spared 3 seconds. And I think the biggest problem here is even if the movie is good, even if the critics are right, and this is one of the best superhero movies of all time, or at least for a very long time, is the audience actually going to go out and watch? Definitely why the second trailer is mainly a Batman movie to actually get people to go along. but people will see Ezra, and I'm just not a fan of Ezra, to be honest. I really would have just preferred it if it had been Grant. It's going to be very interesting to see how this movie does, especially if it's good, because the word of mouth impact will have to be strong to overcome people's natural inclinations when it comes to Ezra Miller, given his history. If it was a bad movie and Ezra Miller, you'd be able to understand if it flopped. But if it's good, and it still flops, well then you definitely know who to blame. But with DC throwing the kitchen sink at this one, with every cameo they can try and shove in to distract from everything that's happened with the movie, will it be enough to overcome the person everyone is amazed hasn't been fired yet? I have no idea. But I am interested in hearing your thoughts. So let me know what you think down in the comments below. Like the video if you like the video, subscribe, more videos like this in the future, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.